Hello, fellow crafters and collectors. I am here to share with you a junk journal that I've made. It is more like a botanical summary book. It has three signatures, which they're bound and sewn, but they are attached with fabric. I just tied them onto the book. Now, if you purchase this book and you want them attached to the book, I'll be glad to fix that for you. So let's start. On the top, it has a large envelope that I created here with a page out of a botanical book, and it has a collage on front with some vintage trim. And what I do is I fold it and then sew it and add all the fabrics, but it's definitely a nice little envelope for you to put stuff in. And there's some vintage trim here on the edge. And then on top I have a tag that I made. I have folded some coffee dye paper. I printed on the other side with a printable, and then you fold it in half, and then what I do is fold this up and then sew it across the bottom, which holds it up there for you. It has a nice little cluster of fabrics and trims in the corner. And then we have some bees, printables, little tags that I've made. This one has a beautiful young lady here. This is, I think, a Tim Holtz embellished cards. And then there's a printable. And these all tuck in here. And then this is also a pocket in here on top. So those were just sitting on top. This is a file folder that I glued and sewed fabric on it, and this fabric is real soft, like cotton soft. And I've created a little cluster of fabric and trim, and then the fabric had bees on it. I took a little bee here and put it in the corner with a nice little cluster of thread. And you can add something to the front if you like. I love how this is flimsy. So let me share with you what's inside. There's the back. It's completely covered with the fabric. This is an Edith Holden. This is a slide card, vintage slide card that's glued on there. And then there's some trim on the edge. Let me get in the screen here. Okay. And it's sewn. This is a paper doily, a printable vintage book. This is eco dyed paper, and another doily that has a bird and it's been hand stitched. This is a baggie that I put glued in, sewn on here. This is from a magazine that I did some sewing on. Added this little piece printable here. Coffee dyed paper. This is a printable. This is music paper that I have stamped on and then used a Martha Stewart punch on the edge, and it just flips up. Just have it stapled up there on top of coffee dyed paper. Created a corner here with a little cluster, and there's some trim, and then one of my little stamps that I made, and some printables. This is a printable that I've sewn to make a little tuck pocket. Here's another printable, and this is a die, a punch but bird, and a little piece there glued on. This is from a magazine. I sewed and created a pocket. And here is a card. And this is the other half because this is the center, and you can see where I sewed it. Here's a little tag I made, a little printable postcard, and some more trim, printable, coffee dyed paper, more trim on the edge. This is, I think it's a printable coffee dyed paper. Here's the other half of that that I've sewn and created a pocket. Inside is a piece from Edith Holden book and a printable, a couple printables that was printed on coffee dyed paper. You can fussy cut those out. Cute little boy that I fussy cut. And here's the other half of the bag that I just folded up and put this little card in here. And I used a butterfly paper clip to clip it on with. Here's the other half of that doily. Here's the other half of that eco-dyed paper. Here is a page from an old book, and I just stapled on a little printable in the corner. Here is a pocket that I've created. Take the embellishments out. I just sewed it onto the page, and it does flip if you want it to, but I figured you could flip it up, journal on here, and hide it. This is from a printable. This is from a doily that I've sewn onto it and created a pocket with it. And then these are just little clusters. And this is from an Edith Holden book. Made a little tag from it. And here is a printable that I've glued onto heavy stock, cardstock. And this is a, it's a emboss and die cut little tag that I made and inked. And that's an Edith Holden page. Another Edith, is that Edith Holden? No, this is from a book from England. It's an English book that I have. This is from a flower book. Here is some beautiful fabric that I made a little cluster, and then also added this beautiful trim on the edge that has been tatted. Coffee dyed paper, printable. Here's a little pocket. Here's another, I think, yeah, that's an actual printable. And then here's a little card that I made, and this is a bird paper clip. Great, lots of places for journaling, embellishing. It's a very pretty book. Here's a pocket that I have filled with a bingo card, which has some trim on the top. And here's some extras for you to use in your book. This one, I don't know if I said this is going to be $40 plus shipping. This is coffee dyed paper. Here's another corner pocket that I made, and this is a botanical postcard. And then this was printed and glued to cardstock. This is a nice little bees card I made. Another printable that I sewed and made a pocket. Well, it's the other half. And here's part of Edith Holden that I just added. Another little card. And this was sewn. Some beautiful fabric. Made a collage and a tuck where you can tuck stuff under it. Another printable, and there's the other half. And I've added a little Tim Holtz dolls, and then one of my stamps in the corner. And then this is another botanical postcard. And I did do a punch right there, so you can tuck it in. And then this says right here, and then I stapled it first and then put that on top. And this is, you know, paper you can use to journal on, tear off. Here's some beautiful trim that I've added to this one. Coffee dyed paper. It's stencils from a garden book, Edith Holden, and that's that signature. And here's another one, Edith Holden. I just added a little cluster of fabric in the corner here. Here's a little just stapled on there in case you want to use it. This is a onion paper, and then here is a little pocket that I made. I think this is made from a bag, and this is newer ledger paper I glued on. Printable, a little envelope that I made from the printable, and a Tim Holtz doll. And that's the other side. It says devoted. Another little pocket that I've added some bags for you. And then there's this little ticking fabric, and this is coffee dyed with lace. This is a printable with some trim on the edge. Here's another pocket, and this is a printable glued onto cardstock. Another little card I made to go inside, and then I did punch a little circle there, tab for you to tuck that in. This Edith Holden. This is Martha Stewart punch. I've created a little pocket, another tag that I sewed on, and then there's another piece for you to journal on. Printable with some more lace. I printed on both sides. And then this one is clipped on with a butterfly, and it's an envelope. You can put some things in. I printed it on both sides. Hope I'm not going too fast. Trying not to make these videos too long. There we go. Just love that. And you can tuck stuff in here as well. In fact, I think this was there. So this is one of those longer flowers. Fold it up. And then this is a pocket. This here is a file folder and a napkin that was Mod Podged on, and I created a pocket up in the corner. And then here is a printable for you, another printable, and then we have a vintage card. We have a little tuck pocket here that I've sewn, and then here's this. It's a longer one for you to journal on. And then this is a nice little card. It's heavy cardstock, and it's got the lines for you to journal. This is dyed paper. Edith Holden, the other half. I created this little tag with paper from, I think this is from a dictionary, an old dictionary. And then there's paper, crinkled up paper, and then this is muslin that I have stamped on and then sewed on. And there's a little piece of the fabric made into a bow on the bottom. I fussy cut this butterfly and put it in her hand. This is from Tim Holtz. And it goes back in this pocket. And there's a little, you can see that I created for you. And then here's another pocket, and this is the letter. Is this the letter? No, this isn't the letter. This is a printable letter of Paris. It's not the real thing. It's a copy of one. Put it on both sides for you. Here's some more of that tatting trim along the edge. And some more coffee dye paper with some trim. Printable with a little tag in there. Some more fabric. Another little pocket with some embellishments for you to use. Let's see. This opens. And then there's this one. And it tucks in here. Just a little tree. And there's more of that trim. This is very vintage. And there's the onion paper, another printable, Edith Holden with some more trim. And then there's the back of the book with some more trim. And there's the back. And then these are 3 different trims that I've tied them on. And I love how it lays flat so you can work in it. I kind of like this style so far. Well, thank you for watching. If you're interested in purchasing this, send me an email at kimberly.gillespie@gmail.com. I need your PayPal information and your address to figure shipping. I do pirate ship, so I try to do as cheap as I can. What else? Give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you like my videos, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.